the I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.
Lindsay Goldapp, welcome.
Hi.
Sorry, we were rattling away. We started talking about kids and life and schools and all this stuff, and then how we both went to small town schools. So you're from rural Kansas, and I'm from northeast Texas. But you were saying the little small farm town where I'm from is named Copeville, and the neighboring town is Farmersville, and you were somehow teaching theater in Farmersville?
When I graduated from college, I, like a lot of people, was like, oh, I'm an adult now, so I have to get a job. Mm-hmm. And so, I got a degree in the arts. My degree is in acting and directing, and there's not a job waiting for you when you get that degree. Yeah. And so I was like, well, I love teaching. I've worked, sort of adjacent for a while. So I went and I got my alternative certification, and I started teaching theater and communications in Farmersville, Texas.
Was it at what kind of place was this? Was it a school or what?
Yeah, at Farmersville Middle School and Farmersville High School.
Wow.
Yeah.
No way. So I played basketball in high school.
Bless.
And little small school. So we were one of the teams where our school had been trash for a long time in basketball. They just weren't good. And we had a coach come in when I was a sophomore, and he was the one who reshaped the team, if it was like a
Disney movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And so he was a great coach, Coach Swigert, by the way, if he's out there somewhere. But
Shout out.
He was a great mentor because he came in. It was he really cared about the students and the players, but it was definitely a no bullshit old school kind of guy too. So he might cuss at you a little bit and all that, but it was all with the best intentions.
Okay, but did he stay? Because sometimes people who care don't stay because the education system sucks the life out of them.
So he was there until I graduated because he took us all the way. We won our district championship and we went to playoffs.
Did you know?
And we were the first team to do that in a while. And Travis
was a district freaking what's the thing here, 5A?
So what was more impressive for us is we were 2A up until our senior year, and then we went to 3A. So we came into a bigger league, but
people didn't even know.
I know.
They were hearing from a 3A district basketball champion.
Listen, if I can ever take you out to the high school basketball gym where all the trophies are, I can show you that I was also Defensive Player of the Year. So
where do I look? Where's the camera? Where's
right
the camera?
Here.
Can you believe it? This guy.
But the district championship game was against Farmersville. And it was this heated small town thing.
Powerful moment.
And Farmersville had a way better student cheering section, where they you're you did you see any of this at your time there? Did you go to any games? Because as a theater person, you would love this because it
was theater, really.
The student cheering section is because they put on crazy things to try to distract you and get in your head. There's a great one online where one of them's dressed up as Moses, and he comes down on the court and he's in front of the kids and he's making them do a wave, and then he parts the sea and runs up and down, all sorts of crazy shit to just get in your head as a player and make you miss a free throw or something.
That's the drama of the basketball court.
But anyway, so
that.
Farmersville will always be I'll always think of playing against Farmersville. That's my back in my day, moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, so how long did you teach out there?
I taught for 2 years.
Wow.
And Did
you live out there or did you commute there?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I did
okay.
not live.
Good for you.
Because I'm from a place that's very similar to Farmersville, except more rural. There's not a city. The closest city, when we would go, let's go to the city and do stuff, go to the mall, we would go to Tulsa, which was an hour away. And Tulsa is still not that big.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up close to a city. Farmersville is pretty close to Dallas. You can drive in. Mm-hmm. So I was no, I've lived here before. I spent 20 years here. I'm not going to do this again. So I actually lived I lived in McKinney for the first year. And then the second year I lived actually right around here in East Dallas.
You're one of the only people who commuted from Dallas to Farmersville.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really doesn't go that way.
Can I tell you something? Worth it.
Yeah,
worth
I believe it.
Worth every moment I spend in the car.
Well, I mean, what year was that when you were out there?
2005 to 2007.
Wow. Yeah. So it's changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
They were building houses and everything out there.
Oh, when I moved to McKinney and I would drive from McKinney into Dallas, there was nothing. Mm-hmm. It was like driving from, Sherman to Dallas now. Yeah. There was nothing. And now it's, completely different story.
Yeah. I'm old enough now to be like, I literally remember when those towns didn't have stoplights and it was all fields. And I can say that now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's getting to the point where if I drive through there, I'm not going to recognize a lot of the stuff anymore, probably.
People are going to love this Farmersville content.
I'm telling you. Anyway.
They're going to be like, I stopped listening to them for the first 5 minutes because they just talked about Farmersville, Texas.
Well, you don't,
yeah, we were.
but you don't think of, West Dallas Comedy Club owner, teaching in Farmersville, Texas. It's not it's just interesting. Like your students back then probably had no idea you were going to open up a club later.
Humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Very humble beginnings.
And I think it's funny to come from rural Kansas to rural Texas,
Yeah. Well, I think people meet me now that I'm from the 1900s. So people meet me now and they see who I am and they're like, oh yeah, I assumed you were from the city. You're that's how you look and whatever. I'm like, oh babe,
Yeah.
no, I am just a country person from the country.
I think about myself a lot back then. I'm curious how you think about yourself back then, because I realize now that a lot of what brought me around to enjoying things like this, like you were talking about your son, how he's at an age where he's getting into guitar and those things. And that was 100% me. And it was like guitar. I don't know about your son, but for me, it was like rebellion, the small town, blah, blah, blah. He's not having quite the same upbringing. And I had good parents that were nice to me. Like I wasn't rebelling against them, but it was rebelling against like this small town stuff.
Like I'm bigger than this.
The world's bigger than your town, whatever. All the cliches. I'm not original in that sense, but I definitely am only into a lot of these artistic endeavors now because the version of me back then was like pushing against all of that so hard. Do you ever think about yourself in that sense? Like, if you had grown up in the city, do you think you still would have gone this route?
Oh, I always think about how did I get here? Like, how did this happen? I actually think like I don't know how I'm here. I kind of beat the odds in the sense that like usually I think when you grow up where I grew up, like a lot of times you don't stray too far. But I always, when I was growing up, I had I'm very lucky. I had older siblings who kind of got out into the world and showed me that there was a really big world out there. And so for me, I remember like my brother, I'm the baby of 4. So a lot of kids. But my older brother was 10 years older than me and he lived in New York City when I was like 12, 13 and he was 22, 23. And I went to New York City and immediately just went, I want to live in a place like this. Yeah. This is where like I just felt alive. And I was like, I want to live in a city. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so that was like a very pivotal moment for me. And after that, all I could think about was just like, I can't wait to go live in a city and do city things.
And after all that, you're like, Farmersville, Texas.
You know what? Farmersville wasn't in the plan.
Yeah, it never, it never is, right? It never is like, I know what you mean. I had those same thoughts. I didn't have a city picked out, but I thought, as soon as I can get away, I don't know what the plan is. We're going to figure it out. The closest thing I came to is, we were in like a punk rock band and we went and traveled around the country in a van. So I never moved to a city, but we did that. And then that was my second kind of realization of like, oh, it's a little bit the town, but it's really not. It's really me. These people that I'm running into are all over the country.
Yes.
And changing zip codes isn't going to change these things that annoy me. And then I started realizing like, oh, a lot of this is about insecurities with myself and what I want to do and not having the maturity to figure out how to do those things, I guess.
Yes. And I'm going to yes and.
Go ahead,
okay. Yeah. Like an improviser. I'm going to yes and I'm going to say yes. And also knowing that the things that you want to do, you'll have more access to them in a city. But I also want to say like, backtracking to, yes, there are like small towns and small town people and small town mentality in the negative sense, because there are lovely small towns everywhere, right? Just lovely places. But then there are the negative ones. And I think it was, I moved to Chicago after I taught in Farmersville. So 2007, I moved to Chicago. And I think driving through Chicago or Illinois, and spending time in Illinois was the first time that I was like, oh, there are rural towns and rural people everywhere. It is not about it's not about Kansas. It's not about Texas. It's about rural and urban. And that's everywhere. And that's okay and normal. And we're also a giant country. So,
oh, yeah. Yeah, after traveling around, it's like I loved all those places, but that's when I started to really love Texas and go, okay, I think Texas is home.
oh, I love Texas.
You know, and it's like all the stuff I disliked about it, I was like, oh, these other places have the same things. What am I thinking, you know?
God, you're so lucky to be from Texas.
I think everybody goes through that phase where they like, you know, they're like, I gotta get out of my hometown. It sucks here. It's like everybody says that no matter where they're from.
You got to see what's out there.
Yeah.
You got to see.
Yeah.
You don't understand. There's also Kansas and Missouri. You know, you don't know.
Man.
You don't know till you know.
I made a drive through Kansas to Colorado.
Yeah.
What's the highway that's through like the middle of the state? Is it 70 or something? Anyway, sorry, all this highway talk. But it was one of those ones where they're like, hey, fill up on gas because the next gas station, you know, it's like 250 miles.
Yeah.
And but I just remember this sea of green grass just blowing
Flat.
in the wind. And,
Flat.
But it was just ocean-like the way it was waving. And it was just one of the most peaceful drives we'd ever had.
Oh, you're really romanticizing Kansas right now. And as a Kansan, as
sorry.
a Jayhawker, I can tell you, don't drive across
Listen,
Kansas.
it was beautiful. Would recommend.
Wow.
If you're going and you're making a road trip out of it, because how often do you see something?
I want to tell you, I'm struggling right now because Kansas is, as someone who's from there are lovely parts of it.
Sure.
But just like driving across it is a slog.
Yeah, but you're from there, so it was like the inconvenience of, you know, this is part of your life. For me, I'm just passing through, and so it's just a sight to see. I mean,
Travis?
how many places can you say that you've been that look like the middle of Kansas? You know, in terms of just visually, it's kind of a stunning sight that it just goes on for so long like that. It's like looking at a desert the same way. You know, if you are from,
I don't want to drive across the desert.
But what I'm saying is,
I don't want to drive across West Texas either.
If you go look at sand dunes in the Middle East, you think like, I don't want to be here, but also, wow, this is beautiful. This is incredible.
Travis is really having a positive attitude right now that I do not have that. We're going to have to respectfully disagree
This
on
is weird
driving across the beauty of Kansas.
As an improviser, you're supposed to be positive and you're supposed to agree and yes and. No.
You know what? As an improviser, I'm supposed to agree to the world that we are building together.
Yeah.
I don't have to literally agree with you.
Fair enough.
And I agree to the world where we're having drives. And that's it.
Okay.
The rest of it, I'm out.
All right. I can't win you over on driving through Kansas. That's fine. That's fine.
As a Kansan.
How long were you in Chicago?
So my husband and I, we moved to Chicago in 2007. We planned on staying a couple of years just to study at the comedy mecca, the place where all the SNL people studied, and then come back to Dallas after about 2 years. But we fell in love with it because Chicago's amazing. And we stayed till 2012. So math, 5 years, almost 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you had to really like it then.
Yeah. But then we had a kid and we were like, we can't just have a kid up here.
Why not?
In sub-zero weather with no family and just people are around us like making shows and being creative and smoking cigarettes and like living this kind of life. And we're like having a kid. You can't do all that.
Did you ever hear about like Jim Gaffigan, how he's raising 5 kids in New York in a similar lifestyle?
Yeah.
And that's wild. Like, I'm happy he can do it. And obviously he's in a different income bracket where it helps quite a bit.
Because we would have had to move out. Like, we wouldn't have been able to buy a house in Chicago proper. We would have had to buy a house out in Aurora or something. And I'm sorry, but like, Chicago is not like Dallas where you live in the burbs, but you're all over Dallas. When you are in the burbs of Chicago, you're not going back into the city. You're in the burbs. We're not all blending. Like, you're in the city proper or you're a burb. You're suburban.
So now all the things that brought you up there, you
don't have access to them.
Yeah.
And we had no family, no support system. And you have kids. That's tough.
It is. Yeah. I mean, we have some family members that are over constantly, and it's like, especially now with the second kid, it's such a big help.
Oh my gosh. Like, that's such a game changer. And when people have that, I'm like, yes, that's what we're supposed to be doing here. We're supposed to have the village and have the support system.
I'm trying to convince a couple of our parents, like, come back. let's sell
Thought you were going to say commune.
sort of, but like sell, like I want them to sell.
Because I'm into that.
I want them to sell their home. And then let's get a bigger home where you also live. And then you don't have to drive over to visit. You're here all the time. We get help. And like the house we're in right now, it's a smaller home for 4 of us to be living in. And so we are literally busting at the seams. And when I say small, I don't mean like it's only, 2,500 square feet. I mean, we are well below 2,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And we have converted like dining rooms into a nursery. Our closets are small, bathroom. It's an old 1950s home.
Yeah.
And so we were telling them, it's like, this is a way we could get into a larger home without feeling like we're stressing and struggling. And then also, like, you're a part of this. And when you bring it up to other people, they're like, well, not even our family members, just other people are like, the issues of like ownership and you'll always be around them. And, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but what about the issues of stress and financial insecurity and uncertainty and how a couple different people could all be benefiting off this? And the inconvenience is like, well, sometimes I wish I was in the living room by myself. It's like, well, I can figure that out.
Well, yeah, let's figure out some boundaries.
Exactly.
Let's figure out how the commune works. Look, as an elder millennial, I'm pro commune.
Yeah.
Like, we can't afford houses in this time.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to you can get nicer things without being house poor.
Yes,
you can still save money, and I can't get any of them on board yet. I think they're leaning towards like the, building like an in-law suite, but and that's fine. But that just comes. It's like that now you're getting so specific. It's harder to buy a property like that or find a property like. But I'm all about that. I think if we had, if I had money, it would be land and like a compound where we each have a little home, and we meet in the middle at the little park we built or something. But
I'm sure I'll live on a compound.
Yeah,
yeah.
You got that vibe?
Oh yeah. I'm not hippy dippy, but I believe in this is why I do what I do. I believe in community. I believe in the village. I believe it's like what we're supposed to be doing. And so like I'll probably end up in a commune with some folks for my retirement.
I can't think of her name. There's a woman who wrote a book, and she's very polarizing because she has very far-right opinions. And she, I'm listening to these opinions on the Joe Rogan podcast, which people are already polarized with.
Right.
She did bring, and I think it's important too, right? It's like, I'm not far right, but I want to hear these thoughts. I want to see what you're saying.
As my father-in-law used to say, even a blind hog gets an acorn every once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was making a lot of these claims. She wrote a book. I'll have to figure out what it is and read it and see what I think. But claiming that a lot of that thinking, getting away from like the commune, the family staying together, was all just rooted around getting us, like, if we all buy separate homes, we're all paying more taxes. And so
that makes sense.
She was pushing this idea of how a lot of these people, they were saying like women need to go to work, and it wasn't part of the feminist movement. It was about like, we'll get another income that we get to tax. And then, let's, and like shaming the homemaker in that sense.
Yeah.
And then, so great, we got 2 incomes we can tax. Well, now if we can get the kids out of the house earlier, great.
Yeah.
They have jobs, they have homes, more tax. And it was all about rich people trying to get more tax revenue.
Okay,
that's a pretty wild claim, but but you think about it, you're like, maybe, because they do want more of our money anytime they can get it.
Look, you're never going to, I'm always going to be on the side of like the government's doing and big corporations are doing some shady stuff. Yeah. Don't you like how this is a comedy podcast to talk about comedy, but we have fully dove into like capitalism, socialism. Like, don't you love that?
Well, I just want to know how folks like you tick, because I think it's insane that you willingly took on, opening up a space and running a space. Because it's difficult. It's difficult to not just to make money, but to keep it running in terms of all the people it takes when you think about performers and just putting stuff on constantly to keep it running.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's super difficult. It's not as rewarding, I imagine, as a lot of people would think.
No.
From the owners I've talked to, and if anything, a lot of the owners that I've talked to, whether it's deserved or not, they just get vilified as like, oh, he's an asshole, she's a bitch because they wouldn't do this or that, and I am
constantly telling people when they're talking about like opening a space, I'm like, don't do it. Like, unless you want like to cry all the time, for everybody to hate you, and to be stressed all the time. Like, if you love that, great. You're going to love this. Yeah. No, it is so romanticized because it is, it's a lot of work. It is very rewarding, but it's a lot of work. So I want to say something really quickly, because people all the time will say that I own the theater. I do not own the theater. It is a nonprofit.
Well, okay, yeah.
So, but that's a really important distinction because, but I also know that like a lot of people, and this is our education system's fault. It's not their fault. People don't know what a nonprofit is. I did not put any money into this theater. I do not stand to lose or gain any money from this theater. It's as a nonprofit entity, the government has deemed that it is providing a service to the community. So there are no investors, there are no shareholders, and I do not have any money in it. There are only donors.
Okay.
So it is owned by the community, and I can be fired. The board is my boss. We are governed by a board of directors that helps guide the mission. And they are my boss, and they help hold me accountable. And I can be fired just like anybody else. And that's really important. That's like a really important distinction. But also, I didn't put any money up because this is really hard. And,
Were you there from the beginning?
Yeah. So I'm one of the co-founders of the space. Okay. So we really did it for a couple of reasons. Most theaters, like theater, they're nonprofit. Most theaters are not for-profit entities. Most comedy clubs are for-profit entities. But we decided to go the nonprofit model for a couple of reasons. One, because we knew that we were providing a service to the community. We knew that improv is great for the community's social skills, mental health, wellness. We knew that it was. It's been done before. We're not the first. We didn't invent this. So we thought going the same route as theaters do just felt right. And then secondly, and this is the one that I think people who aren't in the business will not understand as much, but I've been a part of a lot of theaters. I've been a part of a lot of comedy institutions. And I really wanted, for myself to be held accountable. Like I've seen people who run spaces do it just for themselves, just for it to be their own personal playground, or they like get a giant ego and they like get crazy,
get a little bit of power.
Yes. And I've been a part of a lot. I've been on the receiving end of that stuff, and over the course of the last 25 years. And so I was like, that could happen to me. I could get crazy. What's the saying? Absolute power corrupts and power absolutely corrupts. Like I could become a monster. And I want to know that I have somebody who would go, we got to get you out of here. You're crazy.
Yeah. So that's your board in this sense, right?
Yes, because I like genuinely care about this art form. I genuinely care about building community. This was never about me. I love it. And I love doing it and I love building it. But like I want it to outlive me and outgrow me. And for, you know what? Someday I want to leave and just get my sweet little corporate job and just like make so much money and just roll in money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a little ways before I get there, but
yeah, I have those dreams every now and then where you're like, man, if I dropped my ethics like two notches, not a lot either. Just if I bumped them down a little. I know all the ways that people make money that it really pisses me off. Yeah. If I could get comfortable with that, I think I could make a ton of money.
Oh, yeah. If we would just let go of all of our morals, or just a couple morals, just a couple little scruples.
Yeah.
We could be rich, Travis.
Whenever I pay like a large bill that was unexpected or something, I'm like, this is the moment. This is when I change.
This is my villain origin story. I got this $800 medical bill.
That's right. 100%.
Here we go, baby.
Yeah. Especially like, once you have kids, it's like once the daycare bill started rolling in, I was like, yeah, I could probably get in some kind of corporate sales thing, give people some shit they don't need, and I could sell it. I could sell it.
I could do pharmaceutical sales.
Talking about the commune, I've had multiple times I've thought, I could do a cult. I could easily do a cult.
Improv is so close to cult. I know. We're cult adjacent. I think everybody knows that.
You're charismatic
like
enough. You could be a leader with some ideas if you had to. And then, 20 years down the road, we would regret it all, but it's done.
Would I?
It to ourselves.
I'm going to be in Turks and Caicos. I'm not going to care about any of you guys.
Well, so you said, I didn't know that it was all donors that started it. What year was it that you opened?
So we opened in 2017.
Okay.
And the way that we did that was we ran a few programs. We didn't have a brick and mortar space. We just formed an entity. And then we went through there's many hoops. If you ever want to start a nonprofit, there are many hoops. And we jumped through all those hoops, got our nonprofit status. And then we started holding some therapeutic improv classes at different locations. So I think our first programs were improv for anxiety, improv for autism, and improv for caregivers of folks who have Alzheimer's and dementia. And we started holding those. So that brings in like a little bit of program revenue.
So you were going to facilities, like if you were going to somewhere for autism, were you going to an autism facility?
In that case, yes.
Okay.
So some of them, it was like we would rent out the space in order to hold the class. And then some of them, like our Improv for Autism class, we were holding weekly classes at it's a college it's called Nonpareil Institute, and it's a college for folks who have autism or neurodiverse. And we were holding, this class was sort of to work those social skills, creative muscles, and get and kind of add to that aspect of their life. And so we started to do a little bit of that. And then we ultimately decided, in order to do this, we know how this works. I've been a part of a lot of improv communities. You really have to have a physical space. Like you have to have a brick and mortar for people to come to and gather, see shows, take classes, all that stuff. And so we decided, well, we have to make this happen. So we did, my co-founder and I did sort of some private fundraising, people that we knew who maybe would believe in our mission and believe in what we were doing. And we raised about 10 grand privately. And then
what is the spread of people, if you don't mind me asking, of that $10,000? Is that like 10 people, 100 people?
We don't have big donors. We do not have, ours are like small. We're like the Beto O'Rourke. Like we have like a lot of small donors, which we love. It means like a lot of people believe in our cause. We don't have somebody like bankrolling the whole operation.
Sure. Well, yeah. And part of the reason I was asking that is if you have 3 or 4 big donors,
you lose one and you're like,
Yeah. And then I wonder, do they start wanting to have 3 or 4 opinions?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Of how you should be running this space.
It does become quite complicated. But we didn't have that. We really had people who believed in us and believed in what we were doing. And then we held a Kickstarter. So we got the 10, and then we held a Kickstarter for 30,000 to get us around that like 50 grand. Like, oh, maybe we can sign a lease on a space. I don't know. We'll see. And we did a month Kickstarter, and we hit the 30 grand.
Wow.
And then this is a wild story.
$1,000 a day, by the way, that's pretty incredible.
It's amazing because it's amazing that people believed in it, and that people believed in us, and saw that there was a need for this sort of thing. So I'm like, when people give us money, I'm just like, God, my personal dream is like get rich and just give money away. How amazing would that be, right? Just get, you need money, just going through GoFundMe's like they're, scrolling and just being like, yes, you.
Would you go anonymous or would you still put the name? Right? You want to be cool and do anonymous, but I also want my name on there, I think.
That's what a great like late night question of like getting to people's true core.
Like I always thought like, you know what? I think I would just anonymously donate everything.
I just want to give.
And then I think like it would be cool to have the, wing of the hospital named after me though.
Right? Like the Lindsay Goldapp blah 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 library.
Yeah, of course.
I don't even read that much.
Yeah.
No, I got to think about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm cool, but I think I'd put my name on it.
You're probably right. Yeah, it's like I think I have a pretty healthy ego, but like I don't have no ego.
Exactly.
Okay, you're right. I'm gonna think on that.
Sorry. Anyway, we were talking about the donations.
Okay, so we raised the 30, and then we needed just like a little bit more to be able to sign the. We were visiting spaces in Dallas Design District, and for us, and I think this, I always have to kind of explain this to people because they're like, oh, why like why Design District? Because there's no walkability. Like we are hidden in a corner of a parking lot.
Yep.
We're way back there.
You literally have a moat behind you.
We have a moat. We do have I never thought of it as a moat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's low-key like, yes. Okay, we have a moat. Big flex. No, we wanted to think of ourselves as like, this is a destination. People are like, don't you want walk-up traffic? Walk-up traffic is there's pros and cons. Do I want drunk people staggering in to an improv show? Not necessarily. They typically are not happy that they got there. They're like, improv? What? I hate this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to an improv show sober.
Yeah.
And I understand.
And you get a lot of the people who, when you're drunk, you're talking, you get the people who are like, oh, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, you're distracting everyone from the show.
They came to be the comedy, and we're like, no, we're the comedy, but thank you so much. So we wanted a place that was like, no, you purposely got in the car and came to this place, and that just felt right for us to be in Design District. And at the time, this was.
Were you using a like a real estate broker or somebody to help you find this building?
Yeah.
So were they the ones to go, have you looked in this area? Or was that something you took to them?
No, they mentioned the Design District because we knew we wanted to be centrally located within the DFW area, but in Dallas proper. And we also, and they had mentioned Dallas Design District because this was, it's 2006. This was in 2017, 18. So a few years ago, think of Dallas Design District. It didn't have Silo. It didn't have a lot of the stuff that it has, double D's, all these. It wasn't as sexy as it is now.
Around the time you're talking about, we did a bicycle, like one of the more hipster things we ever did. It was a bicycle brewery tour where you get on a bike, you go to different beer places, you drink one beer at each one, and the last stop was over at the old community beer location.
Yes.
And we remembered thinking, because some friends invited us, and we're like, oh, that sounds fun, And you're riding through, and it felt like it was still early, like it was emerging.
It was.
I think it was community.
Petty Colas was over there.
Was there. That was one of the stops. Cidercade was one of the stops.
Yes.
And then there was two more that I can't think of anymore. But it was, we're driving down empty warehouse streets.
Yes,
on
like
these bicycles. And there was
art warehouses.
Yeah, and there was a group of 50 or 60 of us on this thing. And it was super fun. And we just went back there recently, and it's like it's changed so much.
So much.
Not even barely 10 years now.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have Silo in our same complex.
Yeah.
We love it. They're great neighbors, and they bring a lot of people in. But it's just so strange.
That's the place that does a lot of EDM music, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I was talking to a parent. We're on a soccer team or something together, our kids, and I was talking to one of the parents, and they had recently gone through their divorce, and I think they were like doing that thing that some people do when they're recently divorced, where they revert back to kind of the party life of their 20s.
Yeah.
And they were telling me about Silos, and I was like, no, man, I don't know what Silos is. And they explained it, and I was like, oh, okay, so you're just trying to party and cut loose till you figure this out. I get it. And but he was talking about how crucial it was to have this EDM concert facility in Dallas, that they didn't have a space like this.
Yeah.
And that how that community was welcoming it. And I don't know anything about that community. Then weeks later, we were down watching a comedy show at Petty Colas. Mm-hmm. And when that comedy show's done, we're just out front chatting, catching up. And all of the people for Silos, or wherever they're parking, they're walking down the street.
All
to
these
go in.
goth kids.
Yes, and I got to see it in full force, and it wasn't like 15, 20 people. It was just person after person.
Hordes of goth. When our shows end, okay, but that's why. Okay, here's what you need to know about Silo. Their shows start at 10:30. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to a show after 6:30.
Yeah.
And so we leave our shows, and there are just hordes of goth kids and kids with fur boots, and just, oh my God. And they're just streaming towards us. And we're like, God bless you all.
Yeah. Well, and that's the fun Dallas that I like.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, we just did our comedy thing, we did our brewery thing, whatever, and now you're doing your thing, and we're all passing, just giving head nods and waves, have a good time, be safe.
Yes.
And it's like we are all friendly to each other, but we also don't want to hang out.
Yeah, I'm not going there, but I love that you're going there.
You'll have a great time.
No, you're
use
right.
Uber.
No, your friend is right. They like that community definitely needed that space.
Yeah.
And that Disco Donnie is apparently the guy, he's a big
Is that the DJ at the place or something?
No,
or?
he's the guy who like he's a big EDM and DJ, but like guy who like I don't you know what?
You could tell me anybody, and you'd be like, "So he was out on tour with Pancake Pete."
No,
and I'd be like, "Yeah, I know him."
Pancake Pete. I recently saw him in a documentary about something. It was the documentary about the when they were going to throw that big festival for rushing the Area 51.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was going to be involved in that.
Okay.
So he just like he creates venues. He's very involved in like venue creation, and he's very involved in the EDM world. I just hear is that everybody was like, oh, you know, this space is it's associated with Disco Donnie, and I was like, oh, disco.
Oh yeah.
I'm like. I'm improv Lindsay. I don't know. That's not my like. He sounds awesome. That is not my world.
Right.
So yeah, the area has changed a lot, but I think shout out definitely to like our realtor Sarah Fredericks. She's so good at knowing like this area in 5 years will be bonkers, but like right now you can afford it. She's so smart and so savvy, and found us that space, and it was an empty warehouse, and so we needed to build it out. And so I have a friend who, he was the tour, a good friend, Dan Grimm, who was the technical director for the touring company for Second City. And he knows everything about like how to design a space, especially for improv, sketch comedy, that kind of thing, which is what we do. And he designed the space, and I love the design concept that he created. And then we needed like an extra like 5 to 10,000 like to make it happen.
Is this above the 50 or the 30?
It was above. So at that point we had like we probably had 40 that had come together. So we really needed like 50. And it's so funny. I reached out to this kid. I say kid, he was a grown man, but he was a former student of mine at Farmersville High School.
Small world.
And at Farmersville High School, I started an improv troupe of my students because I loved improv and I had been a part of so many improv troupes. And I reached out to him and I said, you know, hey, we're having like a little fundraiser to just see if we can raise money to start this space. And and I was just inviting him to a fundraiser. I didn't know anything about what he was doing, but I knew he was like maybe in the Dallas area. And he said, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm very interested in this. And I was like, okay. And he said, no, so do you know what I do? And I was like, no, man, I haven't seen you in like friggin' 15 years or something. And he was like, so I got into crypto really early.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. And he's like, now I mine it. And I was like, okay. And he said, when you taught me improv in high school, it changed my life. It completely changed my life. So I want to help you out. And long story short, he gave us like that last chunk. I think it was like $5,000. He gave us like the last chunk that we needed. He was like, he came to see us. He like flew in. He said, show me this space. And I said, okay, here it is. And he like looked at it and he was like, you want this space? And I said, yeah. And he said, I'll get you the last chunk that you need. And I was like, he was like, improv changed my life. And I was like, this is like a movie, except crypto. You're like a crypto bro, and that's a weird part of the movie.
Farmersville crypto bro. You know, giving money to this rural Kansas, Chicagoan.
Funny?
Yeah, I mean it's
so bizarre.
I used to force things a lot more, thinking like I need it to go this way, I need to do that, blah, blah, blah. And if anything, like, you know, I'm 40 now. Through my whole 30s, it was that just getting kicked in the nuts all the time, learning the lesson of like you can't force anything. You try, but then you just need to kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
And if you can kind of go with it, all of a sudden, it felt like all these things, everything feels easier now. Just, you know, like if somebody has to cancel, I don't like it. And part of me wants to be like, look, you committed to this time. And like, you're wasting my time. I have a family, blah, blah. And that's what I feel on the inside. But then I'm just like, yeah, no, things come up. What do we? Yeah. And then inevitably a week or two later, when that comes up, the day they canceled on, I'm like, oh, that actually worked out great. We ended up having to do this and blah, blah, blah. You don't think that going to teach in Farmersville, Texas is somehow in the future going to finance your nonprofit space.
That wasn't in the plan.
I know, it's just wild.
It wasn't in the plan.
The world's crazy.
No, it is. And I mean, I think it's a combination of like, and whether in comedy, whatever kind of arts, like it's this combination of like preparedness for that moment and then a lot of luck.
Yeah.
But also, to be fair to myself, because I'm sure my co-founder is like, hey, no, you give yourself credit. Like, cultivating these relationships with people, like I cultivated relationships with people. I taught people. I hope that, and sometimes those relationships come back to me in a beautiful cosmic way, and I'm like, yeah. I'm glad that me knowing you 5 years. I could say this so much more beautiful, but. Like it's so beautiful that in some cosmic way, me knowing you and teaching you 5 years ago, 10 years ago, came back to me in a positive way. And that's the stuff in life that cultivate some relationships, make some connections with people, and some good things can happen.
It's a great example of kind of, you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
It's more, the more of those kind of, I mean, yes, it was a job, but you don't have to start an improv troupe.
I did not, and I did not get paid for it.
That's what I'm saying. Like you don't have to do that, but you liked doing it. And these selfless things end up paying you back. You just don't know when it's going to be.
Yeah, and I hope so, but you don't.
It does. It's like the universe. It does balance itself most of the time, right? If you're a good person,
yes,
it's going to come around.
I believe that you should put good out into the world, and at the most, it will come back to you. At the least, it feels a lot better than putting bullshit out into the world.
Yeah. Through my career, I had to really make a conscious effort. And it's something I still work on. Like even with this podcast and like with the comedy people in the local scene. It's so fun and easy to be a hater and like just talk shit on something. You know what I mean? Just be like, they fucking suck and blah, 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 blah. It's so easy, right? And it's like, and then you just feel like, what the hell was that, man? Like, what are you doing that for?
Like, you didn't, like, what was that about and why did you do it?
Yeah.
Because there's always some reason why.
Mm-hmm. Having kids has definitely made me reflect on that more because I'm trying to teach him not to be a shithead. Yes. And then I'll do those things. It's like, after a comedy show, and I'm not even a comic, so I'm not even doing it as bad as some of them are. I'm just somebody who likes comedy and happens to know a few of these comics. And, I'm sitting there, they're like, what do you think of so-and-so? And I'm like, and I start going down my negative thing when I should just, you could find this positive way. And I start thinking about, God, if I was telling my son, like if he was watching me do this, he'd be like, that's not what you're telling me to do. And then I weirdly now I think about Dolly Parton a lot. Because she's just so nice.
Yes.
Yes. And I think it was Aretha Franklin too. There was this clip where they're asking her about modern singers and like they want to get her, to
comparing
rate them and they're trying to get the clip, the snippet, whatever. And she's just refusing to say anything negative, but she's still getting her point across. So they'd be like, what about this singer? And she'd be like, beautiful voice, incredible voice. And they're like, what about this singer? Great songwriter. What about this singer? Always beautiful.
Yeah. The underlying message is there, but like she's not saying anything negative.
We're not gonna no.
I don't have to do that.
Yeah, and it's like just trying to tap into more of that where you have these examples of successful people who didn't. One of the greatest Dolly interviews I saw, I think she was in France. They had an accent that sounded French, and some interviewer for some reason is talking to her about prostitution and what she thinks about prostitutes. Mm-hmm. And, we're waiting for that soundbite, right? Mm-hmm. And instead she just gives some like, well, I just wish the best from everyone. I make a lot of interesting choices. Like, who am I to judge anybody on what they do? I'm just trying to do the best I can, blah, 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 and it's like, damn, Dolly, like I got to start.
Well, she's so good at it too. Mm-hmm. Hers always ends with like a hot little joke where like at the expense of herself. Mm-hmm. She's so good. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Like, I talk shit.
Sure.
Okay.
Everybody does.
I am not all sunshine and rainbows. But you're so right that like when you have a kid, it's just like holding up the worst mirror at yourself. And you're just like, I want him to be better than me. But it's harder as your kid gets older. I have a 14-year-old, so we can have a little more real talk now. Yeah. But I'm also trying to teach him, not to be a shithead and to be like see the good in the world and see the good in the world. So it's tough. It's tough.
It's out there. But I mean, look what it does though, right? You see the good in the world. You're trying to be positive, and now some of the goals you want to achieve in the future, like you said, because you were kind of working on it and preparing yourself, and then just a little bit of, you'd like to think it's luck, but maybe it's because you were putting nice things out there that all of a sudden people are like, I want to do something nice too.
Yeah, Mom.
And,
it was me.
So y'all ended up getting the money and then opened up.
Yeah, I mean, we
built out. How long did that build
out took like 3 or 4 months. But
in that 3 or 4 months, are you just going stir crazy?
I'm losing my mind.
This is the worst decision.
I'm losing my mind.
We wasted so much money.
It was actually more. So if you've ever opened a business in Dallas, whether it's nonprofit or for profit, it doesn't matter. Dealing with like city like red tape bureaucracy. And I've heard that like in Texas, like my brother works in LA and is an architect, and he's like, "Oh, you think y'all got red tape?
Yeah,
I'll talk to you about red tape. We have earthquakes here. we have a lot of red tape. So like just dealing with red tape, and then this inspection and this problem and parking, and so it was just like one thing after another thrown at us, and so then it kept getting delayed and delayed.
Did you have to just figure that out as you were going, or did you have somebody in your group that understood it?
Nope, it was really like me mostly.
How did you tackle that though? Did you just go to the city and say like, all right, what do I need? I mean, how do you? Because little things that people don't think about that aren't glamorous, right? It's like fire safety, certificates of occupancy, plumbing for this many people.
Parking, you have to have X amount of parking spots for your use, your whatever use it is. You have to have a water fountain. You have to, that's the
accessibility, right? Doors, sidewalks.
Doorways have to be X amount of inches wide. Oh, yeah.
All the super glamorous stuff.
Very unsexy things. And I'm sure there are some people who have like a consultant who's working with them to help them through that stuff. But it was really just kind of us learning as we went. And probably that slowed things down.
Do you remember what you started with? Like, okay, the first thing we're going to tackle, we've got the space. Step one is?
Step one, we had to build a third bathroom. So, because there was only 2 bathrooms and we needed a third based on our occupancy. And so we had to knock down a couple walls and start building a bathroom. But
y'all are also this is a building on a slab floor. So like, you have to bust up concrete for this, right?
Yes, to put in plumbing. So that was
major expense.
Yeah, which is probably the most expensive part. Yeah, and then we had to put everything else except for the 2 bathrooms and this little office area in the front was all empty. So we had to build the entire I don't know what comedy clubs call it, but essentially the black box, the theater, and then the green room that also serves as a classroom. So we had to build all of that, and our tech booth, and we had to build all that stuff.
So the brick wall that separates your green room from the stage, you had to put that up, or that was there?
Yeah, we had to put that up.
I thought that cinder block wall was just part of it.
No, we had to put all the walls.
So you had to do interior masonry for this place?
We did. They're just steel and drywall. So we didn't put up.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking it was concrete blocks back there. Maybe I'm thinking of it outside.
No, outside. Outside is concrete.
Okay,
and
that's where I'm
blocks.
getting confused.
And then the wall that separates us from the neighboring businesses, those are cinder block walls.
Okay, sorry, that's what I'm getting confused.
Yeah,
on. Yeah, but still. So when
a lot of work.
Who was telling you about like the bathroom though? Who told you like, hey, you got to have this?
The city and the architect too. So we work with a local architect who architects, they have to be really versed in the city's requirements. So they're also having conversations with the city and back and forth about what's required. So that's fortunate for us that they have to handle that
While
stuff.
this is going on, are you just like constantly counting the money, thinking, are we going to be able to was 50 enough to cover this?
Yes.
Because that stuff, I mean, plumbing, building walls, it's like $1,000 here, $1,000 there. It just starts adding up so fast.
I was more, I had built a budget, and so I thought we were in good shape, and we pretty much were. But I was really more trying to look forward and build some of the infrastructure, the business infrastructure. So making policies, HR, hiring, just
God, that
shows,
sounds like a nightmare already.
all of that stuff. But that's the stuff that I liked.
But you have to have these things as well, since it is nonprofit. Like, you can't come in there more loose, like if you were a private owner, right?
Well,
Because if problems do arise, you kind of need to protect yourself and say, we have a structure that we follow, right?
now here's where I'm going to tell you what's important to me. No, I don't have to have any of that. All I have to do for nonprofit, there's really like I have a much more strict fiduciary responsibility. So like sometimes like stand-ups will come and be like, oh yeah, can I get paid after the show? And I'm like, no, I have to have like a lot of documentation that I paid you. Like I can't just give you. I don't deal in cash. So there's a really heavy fiduciary responsibility and paperwork. But I wanted to have policies in place to protect the people that came in our organization, in our institution, as students and as performers, because as a female performer who had been in the comedy world at that point for almost 15 years at that point, the things that I had been through, the things that I had seen, the stories that I had heard, the horror stories, I knew I wanted to create a place that people could feel safe and where people were not taken advantage of and there were not abuses of power. And so like writing our policies, our internal policies and procedures and expectations it was actually so silly. Like some people are like, we've been around for 20 years. We still don't have that stuff. But it was really, really important to me because of what I'd been through and how I knew I wanted to create things differently and create an environment where people, whether it was women or it was, people of color or any other kind of group, that they weren't going to be abused or taken advantage of or harassed or discriminated against.
What's an example of one of those policies that you felt like was really important?
Yeah. So we have an anti-discrimination policy. We have an anti-harassment policy. We also, one of the first policies that we wrote was our abuse of power policy. So like if you're a student in a class, your teacher is not allowed to date you or pursue you romantically. All those things, there's no like, you can't have like quid pro quos where it's like, yeah, you get some stage time if you do this. All that creepy stuff that you hear about happening in comedy clubs, we have specific policies to prevent that stuff from happening.
Yeah. The closest thing I think I experienced to that was waiting tables, bartending.
Things get sticky, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there's always the assistant manager who's doing cocaine in the office and is dating the hostess.
Yeah.
It just gets,
and you're like,
gets wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Well, that is like it's very prevalent in businesses where is there an does XYZ comedy club have an HR manager? No. If you go in there and you get harassed, some guy's grabbing your ass, like who are you going to report that to? Oh, the owner who's going to tell the booker and then never book you again? Like that's the stuff we wanted to avoid. Did
you watch Pete Holmes Crashing?
I did not.
No?
I did not. I don't watch. Full disclosure, I don't watch a lot of stand-up.
That one's actually
I think because I watch a lot of comedy.
Yeah. Well, this one is like I can't remember what you call it, where it's, it's not a documentary, but it's loosely based off
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is it's
a comedy show.
Yes.
I think it's on HBO.
But it's like kind of based on who he is.
Yeah. And he goes with a veteran comic. God, I can't remember. The guy in real life is a very funny comic, but he plays the veteran like douchebag who's like, when we come into this town, I'll show you, like, listen, the waitress is going to be mine. I'm going to hit on her and all this kind of stuff, right? But when they get to the club that they're going to perform at, it's a corporately owned club. So it's very polished. And this guy looks like a relic from the past, you know?
Right.
And nobody's buying into his bullshit and all that kind of stuff. And it does make you wonder, though, how some of the clubs could survive without that type of structure that you're talking about, even if you're just looking at it from protecting yourself. Because
It's a liability.
Think of all the people you have coming through there, right? And just the misunderstandings that could happen if you get yourself in weird situations, or you've never thought about how you're phrasing things or approaching. And, it's easy to think, this is comedy. It's an artistic world. We can all like talk shit and it's going to be fine. It's amazing to think how many hundreds of people you can have come through there, and some of these people are not worried about that at all. It's like, hey, even just from a self-preservation standpoint,
right?
You might want some guidelines for yourself. Again, talking about how if you went and had a corporate job, it's like there would be very clear boundaries on a lot of things, and it's like maybe you don't need boundaries quite that way in the comedy world, but I think about myself now. It's like 40-year-old man. If I were to open up something, it's like, yeah, actually, policies are starting to sound good. Just to have a reminder of like, this is a professional space.
Yes, but I just said yes, but I'm sorry, like improv. I'm sorry, improv.
You heard it here. She's out.
I'm out. I'm yes butting now. No, but this is where with all due respect, you're a man, and so what you have to remember is. They are not worried about that, because who's going to report them when they risk losing stage time? Nobody wants to lose their stage. It's the same reason that like women don't report all the things that happen to them, because they're going to get destroyed by the booker, the owner, and every single person who hears
the rumor mill.
Oh, everybody's going to hate them. To say anything as a woman, you become difficult. You become dramatic, you're the bitch, you're the problem, and you're just not worth dealing with. And so, of course, you're not going to say anything. So these people they're not worried about having those policies. The worst thing that could happen to them, like the one liability they do have is like the threat of like being sued.
Sure.
But I wonder about that, because, first of all, if you sue somebody, well, you're definitely not going to get booked again. And also, nobody's going to book you again.
Right, yeah.
Because that's going to be out in the
You're taking a strong stance.
But I also wonder, are you suing based on what? Because you're also a contractor. Yeah. And contract employees don't have as many rights to litigate. What do you?
You're not part of the organization.
Yeah, you're not part of you're not salaried. You're not. You don't have any employee guidelines that you have to stay apart. You're a contractor. And we live in Texas, and they are pro the business.
Yes,
they're going to do the best they can to side with the business. So these people are not worried, and that's the problem.
So yeah, I mean, it makes sense though. It makes sense why your policies are being put in place for performers, rather.
Yes.
That does make sense, yeah.
It's for performers, but it's also, I also find like it's for performers, it's for everybody, it's for everybody's safety, but I also find there's a lot less bullshit. Like I don't have to deal with, I mean, obviously we have moments that are dramatic and we have we have rumors and da-da-da, but like I don't have to deal with a lot of internal strife.
Yeah.
Because when somebody doesn't adhere to our sexual harassment policy, our discrimination policy, we have a conversation and I tell them like, this is the policy that you broke and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people who can be funny.
So when they're coming into your, ecosystem at the venue, is that I mean, it almost sounds like you need an orientation. Like do you just say like, hey, here's our things that's up on the wall?
Yeah.
Or like, how does that go?
Yeah, we have a backstage website where we can send people and be like, here are all our policies. And we sort of hit the highlights for them. Cause like, yeah, it's a big giant legal document. Right. So we're like, hey, anti-discrimination, anti-harassment. If anybody says, don't do anything like this, but also if anybody does anything to you, let us know. Don't be hammered on stage. Don't be, sure, we drink, but don't be belligerent.
Yeah.
So we kind of hit the highlights, and then that document is there for them if they want to check it out. But it's really kind of hitting the highlights so they go, oh, yeah, cool. Okay, they actually have some standards. All right, cool. Yeah. I guess I won't get hammered and I won't grab anybody's ass.
Well, clearly you have plenty of people who like the standards. You guys have your own, community. But how often do you get someone who's like, screw that? Does that come up? Do you ever hear that? Or is it like, nah, no big deal, got it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, nobody's ever said it to you anyway.
Well, what I like is like, all right, there are plenty of places you can go. Like, it wouldn't bother me because I'm like, cool. I mean, you also have to understand, I don't compare us to a regular comedy club. Like, it's apples and oranges. Mm-hmm. Like, we are about like local comedy, the local scene. We're not booking out of towners. We're not, bringing in, that's not our structure. And that structure is great. Hyenas, improv, even DCC to an extent, like, that's a great structure. It's not our structure. We're really we'll have some like visiting comics because we're like friends. I know them from the old days or whatever, but we're really focused on like our local, cultivating the local scene, celebrating the locals that we have here. And then we're a learning institution. So like our biggest program revenue is teaching people comedy. We really want to teach people to do this. And so then they can go be a part of wherever they want to be in this scene, or they can go LA, New York, Chicago and feel prepared. Like they got a good comedy education training and now they get to go do their thing.
So was it always designed as a school initially? Was that always the thought?
Yeah. Because that's the world that I came from. I was very lucky. I had improv classes in college that were like part of college. And then I went to Second City in Chicago, auditioned for their conservatory. All the big like comedy schools, Second City, IO, UCB, all those places, they're schools. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're venues, but they're schools primarily. Yeah. And so we were following that model. And so I went through Second City's conservatory in Chicago and spent, I don't know, almost a year and a half studying improv just there. And then, it's also a performance venue or whatever. But that was always going to be our model. And because we really, really take the training part of it seriously. Like, you can learn to do this. Mm-hmm. You can learn to do improv. You can learn to write sketch comedy. There's a way. You don't just have to start writing. Mm-hmm. We'll give you some cheat codes. Yes, by all means, go and just try stand up at an open mic. But if you want a cheat code, take a stand up class. Mm-hmm. It's not that like you have to, but man, to know the structure of a joke, to know how to work a mic, to like know, to help find your personal comedic voice, because everybody's different. Mm-hmm. Every stand up's different. Like, why not get some cheat codes and some hacks and then go out there and do your open mic thing? Because we're still going to have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, why not have a blueprint even if you want to change it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we always wanted to, it's just a foundation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we always wanted to like be a part of that foundation, People's Comedy Foundation, and then like go do the thing. We're rooting for you. We're your biggest fans. Yeah. We're not trying to get famous. We're trying to teach you and be a part of your journey so that you can go do whatever you want with it.
I mean, I appreciate that y'all do that because me and different guests talk a lot on this show about part of what I feel like separates, DFW from these other markets that are viewed as larger, more successful markets for comedy, improv even, is that there are just these tiers I feel like are missing here where people just want to be, it's like we're either starting out or we're trying to be big time. And it's like there's this whole middle zone that has to be filled in for you to do that, And that's part of it is having a space like yours where it's like, hey, we know we're here and we want to excel at this level.
Yes.
And that's so important where rather than going like, well, what major headliners are they selling 500 seats? And it's like, hold on, to get to 500 seats, you got to have you got to have the farm system. You got to have the whole ecosystem filled out.
AA or whatever.
These people, these people never.
You have to have batteries.
But these people never. You can't just skip the steps while you're growing. And so if you're not going to build those here, what are you doing? You're encouraging them to go. Well, you got to leave Dallas. You got to leave Fort Worth.
And you don't.
If you want to grow, you got to get out of here.
Right.
And it's like it's weird that they're viewing an area or. I understand why they view it that way. It's odd that an area like DFW gets labeled and viewed in a way where we're talking about like the rural areas we grew up in. Like, well, hey, if you want to make something, you got to leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? We have so many
Yeah.
clubs and spots, and we have people like yourself in different little corners who are all kind of, facilitating their corner of, what I'm passionate about in this scene. It's like, what are you talking about? But that stigma still lands here so often. It's crazy.
To be fair, I think that was fair for a while.
Oh yeah, I think it's an accurate,
because we didn't have very many places to learn and to be that sort of locally grown.
Mm-hmm.
We just had the big, like you're saying, the bringing in the big headliners. And when we opened, DCH was still open, and we were like, no, y'all don't understand. We're not trying to compete with DCH.
Yeah.
We think that the more comedy, the better. Like the tides raise all ships. Like Chicago didn't become the comedy mecca by having one or two places.
Yeah.
Like they became that way because all of these. It was raising the quality of the work because everybody was learning and everybody was getting better, and they were really dedicated to getting better.
Yeah, you want the DCH people going to Stomping Ground and vice versa. Different crowds, different philosophies, and you're gonna get all the tools.
Yes, and we still want that. And so now we have DCC, and we're like, yes, go study at DCC, study at SG. One of the places you'll probably find your people, and that is beautiful, and that's what we want. And then, but you'll also get different philosophies, you'll get different vibes, you'll find what you're looking for, and like you'll get better no matter what. And so that was really, there was that sense of competition that was hard for us because we're like, that's not actually what we're doing here.
It's weird, right? Because you're going in with this community mindset of,
it's improv. It's all happy and yes and
people are going to be so
support.
excited about this, and then the reality of these people are worried. You're going to pull money out of their pocket and they can't pay their bills, and
it's very weird.
And it is weird. It's weird too when you think. I don't know what the population was then. It was at least 5 million. Now we're inching up around 8 million. I think we might be past it. And it's like how many? What's your occupancy at Stomping Ground?
180.
180. Okay, I think.
There's plenty of people to go around.
I think the numbers are still good for every venue to sell out all the time.
Yeah.
And we're going to have plenty of people still.
Plenty of audience for everyone, gang.
And that,
it's
that doesn't include people dropping in at like Love Field for a business conference or something.
Right. Doesn't all of the people who come through here. Well, we talked about this on the internet. We are not competing with each other. We are competing with streaming services. We are competing with Netflix. We are competing with like the coziest couch and a gummy, right?
Yeah.
Like I do not see any of these places as my competition. I see it as like we're all trying to make something so special that people will leave their houses. That's what everybody should be focused on.
That's a great point.
Like, this is not a competition, gang. Like you said, we have plenty of people for every venue to sell out every weekend.
And I'm an optimist. I think these people don't want to sit on the couch. I think a lot of people just feel like lately, not just with entertainment, but just in general, I feel like people don't feel like their money, their dollar is going as far. Okay, I went to this restaurant, I went to this movie, I went to this thing, and I paid how much for what?
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of what's missing with live entertainment is I think if people can focus on, okay, we're going to treat $5, $10, $20 like it's that amount, not like it's just this number that people can set aside on a whim and go like, no, if you're paying $20, I want to give you $30 worth.
You deserve to get your money's worth.
And so I think one of the things in that vein, what y'all have going for you, the things I like, it's like, we talked about it's not walkable. It's not like in this area surrounded by these other things. But to me, what I do love about that is, that means I can get there easily. It's a nice big parking lot.
Free parking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No 2-drink minimum.
Right. And, the structure's set up in a way where it's like, I'm going to get out of here for under $50 if I want to. Whereas if I go to...
That's for 2 people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if I go to, I'm not going to name... Actually, I will. If I go to Addison Improv, which I like, I'm not talking
They know
shit
how
about,
much it costs, right? They know.
What bugs me, it's like, okay, I bought your ticket online, and unless I'm remembering incorrectly, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure I'm remembering. It's like there's a ticket fee online for purchasing the ticket because we're going through whatever site you use, so there's a convenience charge for that, right? we have the 2-item minimum, which doesn't bother me. I understand you got to pay your bills. I'm fine. I'm going to get 2 items anyway. That part doesn't bug me.
Yeah.
But then there's like an additional service charge when I get my check that I don't know where it's going to. And now I'm confused if I need to tip the server or not because I don't want to I don't want to screw the server. And then it's like, "Oh no, that doesn't go to the server. That's just some venue fee and I don't know what it is." And it's like if there's transparency, maybe all these fees are fine with me. I don't know, but it's just this whole weird like what's it going to? And I came to a comedy show and all of a sudden, like, I'm out like $150, you know? And now I will say they get top level performers.
Right.
And I'm picking the show I'm going to. So I know which ones I feel like are worth that money to me.
Right.
And I have gone to shows where I'm spending that kind of money, I'm paying the service fee, and I leave out of there going, God, that was incredible. That was worth it.
Worth it.
But I think that's the thing is like, if you're going to hit me with all that stuff, this better be a great experience.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly right. I also think that people are, they care about their money. We live in a time, right? We live in a time. And also like COVID made some people after COVID, we all stayed home. And then some people never came out again.
Yeah.
They were just like, what was I doing leaving?
You built a life
weekends?
around being able to stay home.
And and they found out it was really good.
Yeah.
They put in the pool. They're like, why would I have a pool now? So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. And I know we're really dedicated to like, we really want to make this. Well, we do improv, which, I'm sure your listeners are like, is Travis going to talk about the fact that improv is insane and bad?
We just did it with oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? He performs at your place.
Nick Hawk?
Stefan G.
Stefan. Yeah, Stefan does improv. Yeah, it's like, are we going to talk about the fact that improv is bad? No, so like improv can be bad. Somebody said something so wise to me one time, and I tell it to everyone. Okay, so bad improv is bad, right? We can all agree. Bad improv is bad. Great improv is great. Good improv, still kind of bad. Like, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it has to be great.
Unless you love improv.
Yeah.
And then you appreciate the nuance.
Yeah.
You see it, you love it. It's like I'm a psycho in the sense that I really enjoy terrible stand-up comedy open mics. Because
God bless you.
I feel like as just a fan of comedy that I can see where you're going. I can see your attempt, as bad as it is. And I can still see, now I feel like even if it's horrible, but it's like, oh, but that is a pretty slick premise. Like you got something, it's just so rough around the edges.
You're like diagnosing it, and you're like, what's the word? I
don't know what you call it, but I'm appreciating it's like, oh, I see what you're going for.
You're studying it, and No, I know. I do the same when I go see a play.
Yeah,
or
and so
improv.
and now I get excited. It's like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to remember you or not, but then 6 months later, a year later, maybe you worked yourself up from these open mics to some bar show that I hopped on, and you're opening, and it's like, that's that person who had that shitty joke, and they reworked it.
They did it,
and it's like, oh wow! And now I'm getting excited. So I love it on that level. So I see how hardcore improv fans love that mid-level good improv because they're like, oh, it was so close. Like it was good, and they were almost on the precipice of great improv.
But
and
one choice.
They're going to be good. They're going to be good. I can tell. And like you can kind of get on that journey with them and be excited about it.
Yeah.
And
you're studying it, and you're a student of it. And we tell our students, like, how do you get better at this thing if you've never seen people, do it? And also, as a student, as someone who's learning it, like you're going to be bad at it, and that's part of the journey. But I think for us, we're trying to make. Well, we have student shows that we try to make clear, like this is a student show.
Yeah.
These are students; they're learning, and then we have shows that are like our main stage show, like this. These are the best performers that we have, and so we try to make those clear, and we adjust our price points accordingly. But our goal is definitely like great improv every time. Do we always hit it? No, but we want to get as close as we can because we want people to feel like they had their money's worth. But we're always also trying to create different formats, different experiences, different ways to get the audience involved, to create that experience that you're like, okay, I have to leave my house and be in the building for that because that's really special. And that's embedded in improv in a way because there's something a little bit, this is why I fell in love with improv. There's something a little bit beautiful about like, oh, I'm going to do this show, then I'm never going to do it again.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm never going to say these words again. These funny lines, I don't get to, this is done. It's never happening again. So there is something like beautiful and ethereal about it. And when it is, and we're trying to make it great every time. And and there's something cool about like, I'm going to go to that show's never going to happen again. And I was there for it. And I was a part of that. I gave a suggestion or they brought me up on stage or whatever and never happens again.
Yeah. Especially when it's so funny, but you can't really describe it like Monday at work. They're like, oh, we saw this great thing. What was it? It's like, well, it was about
Travis.
It was about this, but then they did this thing and you're laughing and they're just looking at you like, what? And you're like, you just really had to be there. Like, I can't explain it. It was in the moment and it was quick and I couldn't keep up.
You just described my worst nightmare. When people describe their improv show to me, I'm out.
Because that's the beauty. It's like, you got to be there. And I think, again, elder millennials, we're from that time where, pre-smartphone where it's like you were either at the party or the outing or you weren't.
Yeah.
And they can try to describe it, but they can't.
You had to be there.
And so you had this feeling of like, well, I got to go. I want to be involved. I want to see what it is. And people can feel like that's bad, but those were great moments.
Yeah.
When you're just out there in the middle of it, no phone, no nothing, and you can't even
You can't even capture it. You couldn't have even captured it on a phone. Like, it's just not the same.
And even
you had to be there.
Your memory doesn't even capture it, right? Because if you try to describe it 10 years later, you're making up these details that weren't even there. And your friend's like, no, it was this. And you're like, oh, that's right, it was that. And it's just these, I don't know. Those are great experiences that we have, fewer of now because we're always tuned in. We're always locked in. Always checking phone, and it's just nonstop, and you're being assaulted with things that are constantly curated rather than just random fun.
I'm a big fan of just being whimsy.
Exactly.
Let's just go be whimsy. Let's go be whimsy. Go be a little cringe. The youths. Do you know the youths?
The youths.
The youths have so I teach high schoolers improv. I came from. I was teaching at Booker T right before here, and I just came. I'm always with the high school youths, and they have a really hard. They don't want to be cringe.
Yeah.
But I can also understand because everything they've ever done has been recorded. Could you imagine if you're?
Oh yeah, no.
We didn't have that.
The amount of times my social life could have just been destroyed.
Oh my God.
Just from trying something dumb.
Like, I get why they got here, but I'm always trying to push them. That's why, in class, it's like, no, you're not going to record somebody. You're not going to record an improv scene right now. We don't record people when we are, first of all, trying something for the first time. And we also don't record people when we're trying to build, trust between each other. No. You're also consent. Tell people when you're going to record them, you weirdos. But I understand why they are scared of cringe and scared of embarrassing themselves. But I'm always encouraging them, leave that. Cringe is being cringe and being whimsy and being a little goofy and embarrassing is man, that's what life is about.
Yeah. I feel fortunate that, we grew up in the Jackass era where it's you could own the humiliation and spin it into a fun thing.
Yeah.
There was some kind of confidence about I just did one of the dumbest things. Something as simple as in high school, your buddy pantsing you in front of the girl you're trying to hit on or something. It's nowadays it feels like that would be mortifying, but it's no. There's a weird confidence you can get with all of that where all of a sudden you spin it, you own it, and it's not a thing that destroys you. But I think that's harder obviously with cell phones when you're constantly watching it. But I think the flip side of that as well is the cycle of all this. Okay, what's the most embarrassing thing? I don't mean harmful, hurtful.
Yeah, hurtful,
just
harmful,
just embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, how fast is the internet cycle of going viral these days? It's okay, what? You're going to get a couple days, couple weeks maybe.
Worst couple weeks of your life,
sure.
And then they're going to move on to the next thing.
No one really cares. None of us are really that important where it's really not going to be as devastating as you think. as long as you didn't cross some wild boundary, that know is ethically wrong.
Ethically, yeah.
But it's like you just did something goofy, you slipped and fell weird or something. Like, I think that is the strength of things like improv, is it teaches you to like not give a shit in a positive way.
Oh yeah, we really lean into like failure. We have like failure bows. Like, you failed. You failed at that game. It was the worst we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Failure is really embraced because like you have to fail. First of all, we all fail.
Yeah.
You have to fail. You're gonna fail. You got to learn how. It's really good about teaching resiliency and knowing that like you're gonna be bad. But I also think I'm also a big advocate for like when you're learning something new, when you're trying something like, and there's vulnerability to it because you have to be bad before you're good.
Yeah.
And our queen Beyonce said that in the Homecoming documentary. She was talking about like when I learn a new dance, she said when I learn a new dance, like I'm bad at it.
Yeah.
And it takes vulnerability to like walk in there and be like, yeah, I'm Beyonce and I'm about to be bad at this. And I was like, Beyonce?
Well,
really?
Even good dancing, if you're not in the right environment, people are like, what the hell are they doing? Right. Like, if she was just in the bank just dancing, like,
being
people would
Beyonce.
be like, what the hell? That is so embarrassing.
So
and,
there's like vulnerability to like putting yourself out there and being silly and being whimsical. And yes, it teaches you to like, hey, you know what? This is actually not that deep. Like, the stakes are incredibly low right now. That's always my first thing that when people start doing improv, we'll do like a couple exercises and they're so nervous. People are like pants shittingly nervous.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, and I teach improv too to like, corporations and they're just like, I could never. And then they'll do something and they're so scared and then they'll do it and I'll be like, great, check your pulse. And I'll be like, you just did improv. You're still alive.
Yeah.
Like, and there is so much confidence in doing that and knowing like I did this thing and it was really scary and I'm okay and I could do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it not only was it, not horrible, it was
kind of fun.
It was a little fun, exciting.
Oh, by the end, they're always like, "Can we do more?" And I'm like, I knew you were going to be a little freak, a little improv freak.
I've come around on improv to, first of all, part of the reason I've always, borderline disliked it is just the positivity.
I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're a person who really vibes with that, and I think the people that love that, they benefit from it so much.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I just apologize for positivity. I don't have to.
No, I'm just so I'm not that person who can take the compliment or the group like, yeah, we did great, you're doing great, blah blah blah, and that's a big part of that. Otherwise,
yes, but
I like being on an island.
Yes,
you know what I mean. And improv is not that.
Okay, Okay, you're right. Let me say this. All improv people, that is one part stereotype because all improvisers, we are not all sunshine and rainbows and it's not all happy, fun. And honestly, when people if I have a team that comes off stage and they had a really bad show and they're all like, high five, yes, that was the best thing ever. Like that doesn't happen really because everybody kind of feels it. They're like, okay, we know what that was. But we're like, you know what? But also you get to beat yourself up on the drive home and then stop.
Yeah.
So part of the positivity is a stereotype. Part of it is not. Part of it, yes, there is support. but
there's support. I know. And it's like, no, that's good. I just have my own hang up about, it's the same as when someone gives you a gift and I'm like, oh, thank you, thank you for the present. I don't know.
Oh, I hate a compliment.
You know what I'm saying? It's all that.
Yes, I hate a compliment. If you compliment me, I am going to fight you tooth and nail about that compliment. But we're all kind of like that. I find that like improvisers are very everybody's kind of insecure, just like stand-ups. We're all like insecure and messed up and don't know what to think and do. Differently than stand-up, we all kind of go like, yeah, we failed and that sucked, but like, hey, I got your back.
Yeah,
like we failed together and that sucked. And
well, what I've really come around on it though is I think it was talking to Stefan where it's like, oh, I realized what I am is I'm more of a sketch lover. Like I need just enough boundaries, but I want all this. I want all the silliness. Yeah. I like silly, but I've realized I want a little bit of a roadmap. And it's like a lot of the great sketch people have the great improv backgrounds. And so it's like I have to, it's like I love punk rock music, but not the biggest fan of like the Ramones,
Okay.
But it's like I have to go, yeah, but everything I love would not have existed without that.
It's derivative.
It had to come from, all of the people that I love in that genre, they all go, they were the best. They were incredible. And I played this before I played that. And it's like, oh, that's where it comes from. And so I'm slowly getting there the way I am with stand-up, where part of the reason I loved going to those open mics is now it just makes me appreciate polished comedy so well.
Yeah.
Because, like, God, I had no idea how hard it was to create an hour. An hour of material that not you put together an hour, but an hour that's like, this is flawless and it's a piece of work that is complete. Right?
Yes.
And you go like, all those open mics. They had to go to all those crappy bar shows. They had to do all those host sets, feature sets to get here. And so now it's like I have this real deep appreciation for it. Improv's coming around on me in that way, where now I think the next time I go to watch, your veteran performers who we know it's good, I'm gonna start going, okay, I've seen enough bad improv. I know how hard it is to get here to where on the spot you can just make that magic happen.
Yeah.
And then that slowly makes me appreciate the mid-level more, and then it makes me appreciate the beginning more,
But I think you also deserve to see a good show.
Yeah, but I
Personally.
think it's just about knowing which one you're going to, right?
Yeah,
'Cause now,
setting your expectations.
Now if I go to a student class, it is fun in a different way, because now I'm getting to see you, like I'm watching the person on the side, shitting bricks, just sweating, waiting to tag in and
internally.
and then you're like you're secretly in my mind, you're like, go, you got it, go. And then when they do, you're like, fuck yeah, that sucked, but I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Oh, God,
it's like you're in on it with them, right?
Yeah,
and so,
you're rooting for them.
Yeah, I think, in which y'all do this, like you're not dressing up a student show as a high end version of this,
right.
And I think that's all perfect. But I think improv, there's got to be a way where improv can have, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't want to say marketing, but there's some way where the public needs to be better educated about improv to understand kind of what it is, the different tiers, what you're going to go see. And, I was talking about it with Stefan a little bit. Like, I think because improv is always a one-off, there's not as much improv being filmed and released, not as like a special, but something of that high quality of production. Yeah. With people who are really good at improv on lower levels, right? Like local improv troops who have been together for a while. I think they need to be filming things, and you don't have to release everything, but you just go, okay, we've been working together. Our goal is in 3 months, we're going to record, 2 shows and try to find the gold out of that, edit it together, and make a release of this troops, whatever. Because you don't have to repeat the material. It's not like you're burning anything, but it's a way to start bringing improv maybe into the mainstream where, okay, these people who are streaming on the couch, they're not being exposed to improv really.
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Go ahead. Yeah, because that's my mind, but I don't know. I'm curious.
So long form improv, which is, so there's short form improv and there's long form improv. Short form improv is the kind of whose line is it anyway, where they're like playing games, each individual games. And then there's long form improv.
I guess what I'd be talking about is probably more long-form improv.
Long-form improv does not translate very well to film, is what I will tell you.
See, Stefan
there have been, yeah, and he's right. There have been some attempts. There was the ASCAT show that was very short-lived on Netflix. Then there was that there was an improvised detective show a couple of years ago. And besides that, it's been like, whose line is it anyway? And which has been successful, but it's short form. And then there is, now we have Dropout TV that has
he just
Game
clued me in on
Changer.
that. Yeah.
And it's some of the best improv, I've ever seen. But are they doing long form? No, it's not necessarily. So, it just doesn't translate very well to film. And it really, does not, it is not accessible to a wide audience. So one way that we try to curb that at Stomping Ground is to we have long form shows that have a little bit of a novelty to them.
Just to clarify on long form, what length is considered long form?
So it's not about length. It's about like it is a longer piece that is not. We're not playing little games. We're more improvising like longer scenes. Whether that scene is
You can sit there. I'm just going to push this a little closer.
whether that scene is 5 minutes long or 30 minutes long or an hour long, it's long form because it's a longer scene and it doesn't have sort of these game mechanisms in it. So what we try to do to make that a little more accessible at Stomping Ground is we will have these long form novelty shows that the audience can go, oh, I know I get it. So like we have the improvised Hallmark Christmas movie. Where we improvise a Christmas movie that's cheesy and has all, the guy's going to meet the girl and he's going to be a greedy prick from the city and she's going to be a small town girl from a Christmas town. She's going to hate him. And he's going to try to close down her dog shelter that she is losing because that she got from her family and all the bills are coming in or whatever. So we do all the like cheesy tropes and the audience goes, okay, I know what this is. Oh, but they're improvising it based on the suggestions I just gave them. Okay, that's impressive. So it gives them something that they can kind of latch onto and makes it more accessible for them, but it's still improv and it's still impressive.
See, I hear that and I think, all right, did you watch Middle Ditch and Shorts?
Yes. So they're great.
Okay, but what they put on Netflix, couldn't that version of filming and production be done on something like what you just described? Even if it's just for a YouTube release, right? And so just to go, like you said, they're going, oh, it's all improv. I mean, if you could have that reaction at home to then entice them to come out and watch a deeper version of it, right?
Yes, but you would have to have like it has to have a multi-camera setup.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's production. I get it costs money.
So I wish I had the budget for that.
I'm not saying y'all have to do it. I'm saying I think
somebody should do it.
I think it could be done.
Yeah.
I
think it could.
Full transparency, it's like my wheels are turning of could I do things like that with improv troops here locally?
Right.
Would that be I don't care about the time and the money part of it, but just would it work really? Right.
That's a great question.
Because how many troops do you think we probably have around here that are good, that have been doing it for a while, where they all, they form, they have their silly name, and then they love improv, right? Do those last for years, months?
It depends. Sometimes months, sometimes years. We have a team that's been together for 6 years now.
So don't you feel like as kind of
there's probably 50 to 75 troops in this entire city.
So there's got to be 5.
Okay, so
that
then,
if you said, hey, here's the goal.
But there's my question for you. What's the goal?
The goal is
so you've got the 3 cameras set up.
I would have to talk to these troops about their goal specifically.
Yeah.
But really it would be like, okay, you've spent 6 years on this troop. You love this craft. You have inevitably there's probably a style to your troop, right? That separates you from other troops. And wouldn't it be fun to showcase that? To me, it's like you made a band. If I made a band and I wrote songs and I play live, at some point the logical step is, why don't we record an album?
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, why did we name the group? Why are we working together? I know.
No, I hear you.
So
that's not why people. That's not how the improv journey works.
I know, but I think it would be fun to go like, here's give me a silly made up name for an improv troupe.
Truck Nuts.
Yeah. So here's Truck Nuts. They've been together for 6 years. We recorded this thing at Stomping Ground, and the premise was this, and it's 20 minutes of that, and it's just something it's out there. They'll never have to worry about repeating it, whereas stand up has to worry about new material. Improv, you could pump these out to your liking, and it would be fun, and then at the same time, it'd be kind of showcasing what improv is just in a different light, like seeing the improv show, but in a high production level, to where people maybe go, I think I want to go watch improv live. Because I think what the reason stand up, in my opinion, is exploded was the framework that places like, Comedy Central did with their shorter, like their 20, 30 minute things they used to do when they were wildly relevant. And then, now that we have streaming platforms showing it, and then obviously anybody can release anything on YouTube,
right?
That has caused this stand-up explosion. And I don't know if improv wants that or needs that, But it kind of breaks my heart a little to think like, wow, you could be together for 6 years. Within that community, these people know you're really great at what you're doing, but you never actually get to showcase it outside of that moment. Like at some point, wouldn't it be fun to have your record of like, oh, I remember when we did that. That was so much fun.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, my wheels are turning. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I think that a lot of people are doing improv for the joy, and they're with their troupe for 6 years for the joy, and the magic of improv and being in the room and it being something that's hard to capture is part of probably why we don't video. And then a lot of groups. First of all, many of them are hobbyists. I would say 90% of them are hobbyists. They're not trying to like make it an improv. What does that even mean? God, the most famous improvisers, nobody knows their names.
Right. But that right there, that's my point.
Right.
The most famous improvisers, nobody knows them.
Yeah,
but they
also don't. But they also like that they do it because they love it because it's such a joyful thing. And so, but I will also say like if you're looking for next step as an improviser or as an improv troupe, you're usually looking at like doing festivals or performing at other places. So like some of our troupes, like they submit their show to improv festival and wherever, and then they get chosen and they get paid to come out and perform there. That's really what the next thing is for a lot of groups. It's not like, oh, I want to put this on the internet and for people to know about it. It's usually like, I want to go do this for people in other states.
Right.
Or I want to go do, or it's I know troupes that like go to other countries or improv teaching artists that go and they do the show and then they teach a workshop, and that's what the most famous improvisers do is they go teach at international improv festivals and perform at international improv festivals.
Yeah. And then, of course, like the mega step would be, you're on a major platform like SNL or something like that. Yeah.
We just recorded, it's funny that you mentioned this. We just recorded, so we have a performer at our theater, Parker Coppins. Shout out Parker. He's just the best, most sweet, most wonderful person. And he used to stream on Disney XD, and he had his own. He streamed and played. I'm not a video game person, but he would like stream himself playing video games. Anyway, he had a show called Parker Plays, and he worked for Disney. And now he does comedy here with us, and he does improv. And he has a late night show that's like what would I even call it? It's like a late night format, but also elements of it are improvised, and also it's batshit insane. And Parker is just a very unique, wonderful, lovely person, and so we just shot a pilot of the show last. God, I hope I can say this. I'm going to ask Parker before I.
Well, yeah, don't say anything because I don't want to have to edit.
Well, we shot a pilot for one of the big streaming services, and it'll be delivered to them. And it was a multi-camera shoot, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see. Well, if what you're talking about can come to fruition, if people care.
It could be a terrible idea. I don't know, but the wheels have been turning on that because the few shows that I've been to over the years, because I knew some friends who went through one of the programs at I think it was DCH when they went through, and we went to their what do you call it when your class
showcase.
You're forced to your showcase, and it was incredible watching this person who was timid. Not the person who was going to go. And we knew them, so we're watching them freak out on the side, and then they're doing it, and then all of a sudden they start doing it more, and then now I think they might be teaching either at I don't know if they're teaching at DCC or does Comedy Arena do improv classes up there? They might be teaching one of those. I can't remember. But to see them go that far with it, it's like, God, you really love this. And it made sense because this person, when I knew them before improv, they're into Kids in the Hall, The State. These great, and it's like, now in hindsight, that makes total sense that you went this route. Like you were all about this. It was just getting over the nerves to do it.
Yeah. So speaking of Kids in the Hall, Kevin McDonald comes to our theater.
No,
every
I didn't
couple
know
years.
that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So first of all, he's my friend, Loki.
Uh-oh, hey.
Yeah, he comes to the theater and he teaches, and then we do some shows with him. And he's the nicest, sweetest, most wonderful guy. And improv, like he and the kids basically were kind of the in Toronto. They were kind of like Lorne hated them. Lorne Michaels hated them. He's always telling stories about like, oh, Lorne hated us. We were like the little misfits, and we wanted to be like crazy, and we wanted to be go against the grain. And they were doing improv and sketch, and it's so cool. He was just here in October.
Wow.
And we did a show with him.
I'll
Yeah.
have to keep an eye out then. That would be a great one to see.
Oh, he's the sweetest man ever, and just like so humble, and also has the craziest stories. And do you want to call him right now? Just kidding.
No, I mean, yes, but no.
No, he is. He's just like, he's so normal and sweet, but also, see, he's doing the thing, right? He had the Kids in the Hall did a reboot in 2021, but through all of that, he was like, no, I'm going around, I'm teaching, and I'm doing shows around the country and around, the world. Improvisers just really love doing it.
I've noticed, and the more of them I talk to with my ideas, right, the more you see that there's I still have a disconnect of goals and intention. You know what I mean? And it's fine. I'll get there in terms of I just don't see
Travis,
it.
have you ever taken an improv class?
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do it ever.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do improv, and I'm not gonna do stand up ever because one, I love music and playing music and playing in bands. It's like you pull back that curtain.
Okay. Do you know we do musical improv?
I don't want to do that either.
Okay.
I don't ever want to pull back the curtain on the comedic things I enjoy.
Okay.
No more than what I'm doing, like with this podcast and like trying to produce recordings for people and things.
Okay,
I like that, but I think the moment you step on that stage in that version, or you get behind the microphone in that way, you're forever kind of pulling a curtain back.
Boundaries are important. I respect your boundaries.
I like being the fan and the consumer of it. I don't want to do it.
But I do think that until that happens, you won't get it.
Yeah, I know. But I think I will be able to get close enough to understand if something like what I'm talking about is ever going to be worth pursuing, or if it's like, no, it's just not meant for this. You know what I mean? In terms of recording things.
Oh, okay.
In terms of recording improv. I think just having more conversations, it's either someone's going to go, I think that will work because of this, or I'll keep hearing people give me reasons why it won't. And then I'll go, yeah, they just don't want to do that, and
I
we'll
think
see.
I think that's literally it. I think if you offered people like, can I record your, don't worry about the money. I'm going to do a 3-camera setup. I'm going to multi-camera setup. I'm going to record your improv show. I think they'd be like, cool. And then they'd be like, what do you want me to do with it? and you'd be like, because we don't want to watch our shows.
Yeah.
We don't go up and watch our shows.
Yeah.
We didn't even do shows during COVID. I was like, nobody wants to watch improv on a camera. Nobody wants to do that. They might use it to submit their video for a festival.
Right, yeah.
But they're not going to watch it. I've done hundreds of shows. I don't want to watch a single one of them.
I get it. I think
that's what we love about it.
What I've realized my annoyance with the world is you get skilled people who don't get rewarded for those skills.
Sure.
In a way that impacts their life really positively, right? So if like you've dedicated yourself to being a woodworker and you love making chairs, it's like, I want you to be able to sell those chairs to make money so that you can keep woodworking, right?
But see, that's you.
I know.
Bro,
this is my way of thinking. I know.
Capitalism got you. Okay? No, that's a misconception. I have done improv for 25 years. I've been able to make a living doing it for 7 or 8. And I'm not famous. I'm not going to be famous. I can pay my bills mostly. And I have like, you said, and it the thing you said like, hasn't brought the positive thing to the, I live the best life.
Right.
Like I have so much joy because of these weirdos, these that I'm surrounded by, that bring me so much joy. Also, like the research is there. Like improv is so great for your mental health. For me, it's a part of my treatment for anxiety. Like it manages my anxiety. My life, I think, and maybe that's it. Like maybe that's why people are like, look, I'm not trying to get famous off improv.
Sure.
Because we get so much back from it that like, it'd be cool to like get, like we pay people for, our main stage shows and people can get paid and whatever, but we get like so much back. That sounds so lame. I'm sorry. But like, it's true.
I think it's from growing up, poor. And again, not dirt poor. I wasn't like starving. I had parents who worked.
No, I get it. I was poor.
So I think you're always, for me, I'm always thinking about, like I want you to always be able to do that. And the way you always are able to do that is by never worrying about your bills.
Yes.
Right?
Man, I agree with you there.
My mind always jumps to that of like,
Yes.
I'm not trying to make sure you can buy a Ferrari. I just want to make sure you don't even think about your bills anymore. You just enjoy, making money enough so that you have the freedom to go do those things that you want to do all the time without care. Right?
Yeah.
But I think that's just, I'm still processing why I think that way. It's like being married, having children, and all that. It's working through all that of, it's like if I don't have 2 paying jobs, I feel very uncomfortable.
No,
it's like I the one income for me is not enough. I need a second little part-time something, and it's just my stress relief of like we'll never ever be broke. We'll never be poor,
No, former poor kid here. Like current poor kid here. No, I completely agree. Like you also don't have the freedom to be your creative self when you are worrying about your basic needs and bills. So that is so crucial. I think maybe it's important context for you to know that like no, even the most famous improvisers, they do make a living, but not. It's a combination of like teaching, touring, performing, and maybe like some writing gigs and stuff. So like there's always more pieces to the puzzle. With improv, making a living as an improviser is like incredibly rare.
I know, and
it doesn't seem fair, probably, and that sucks. But that's why I'm such a big advocate for like. And I've done it myself, putting those other tools in your comedy tool belt. That's why I learned how to write a joke. It's why I learned how to write sketch comedy because, first of all, they all benefit each other. Like learning how to do improv benefits sketch writing, they all work in harmony. People think they don't, but like there are comedy concepts that they are shared between all the different types of comedy. But also because like, yeah, there's more money in stand-up. Actually, right now, there's more money in writing than anything. Like learning how to write a good sketch, learning how to write for late night, learning how to write sitcoms, pilots. Like I'm a lifelong learner, and I think everybody should be a lifelong learner because like that is actually how you make a living at this thing, is taking all the tools in your tool belt and combining them. I don't think there are very few people actually making a living as an improviser.
That's so depressing. It's the same with music. And, the musicians I talk to, it's like, and it's just you put all this time, effort. It's a skill. It's a thing that people who, if you go to work, you're 9 to 5. It's like every society needs forms of entertainment to help you unwind and relax. Or even if it's just to help you, oh God, I was going to say something so like inspire you. Like
no, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Well, just saying that if you've been slogging away at just the job, paying the bills, doing all that stuff, it's like that's kind of depressing. It's like you got to go out and have entertainment. You got to have fun. And the only way you have that is the people who are providing fun and entertainment got to be able to pay their bills too without it feeling like a grind, right?
Right.
So that they can stay kind of motivated where it is always fun. So I don't know.
But now we're really going to get into it though. Okay. We're going to get into like Well, we've decided as a society where to put our value, right?
Sorry, this camera keeps making a weird noise that I think it's not going to stop recording or something.
Probably
but it's fine.
me. It's me.
No, you're good. You were saying we're entering a weird time.
No, we're like, now we're getting into like, well, this is where society has decided its value is.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if we decide that we're not going to pay artists very much, then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so you said like, isn't that what life's about? You're able to go out and get entertainment. Well, yeah, if you pay people well, luckily a lot of artists are able to do it, are willing to do it for very cheap.
Right.
But we've decided who to pay and how much to pay them. And that's on us as a society.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, like, I would go a step farther and say, like, life isn't about I'm going to be real. My mom's going to be like, she was a Republican. No, like, I would take that a step further and be like we're not supposed to like do a 9 to 5 grind. Like, we're actually supposed to be like creating things and like having joy.
Yeah.
And not doing a thing we hate 40 hours a week.
Right.
Maybe a thing we don't love is fine, but then we all should have a hobby that like fills our cup, right? Yeah. And a lot of people aren't able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's like what improv is for a lot of people. And it's what writing is for a lot of people. It's what dancing is for a lot of people. So like, I think we're entering an interesting conversation here about like the intersection of art and commerce. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And
people don't want that to collide, but it has to, right?
It has to.
It has to.
Like, you have to market a show. Mm-hmm. You can't just do a show out in a parking lot for nobody. I mean, you could. But if you want to make money at it, you're going to have to come up with a concept and then market it, and et cetera, et cetera. So, like, yeah, the intersection of art and commerce is complicated, and I'm trying to navigate it. But that's also why we're a nonprofit, because we think that like there are value in the arts, and that it shouldn't be all about capitalism. Mm-hmm. Because we're a nonprofit, so we're eligible for grants, and we do get some grants. Granted, not government grants, local government, but we are eligible for grants, and we get donations, and we get donations from family foundations. So there are other people basically who agree with me out there and think that like just because somebody's not willing to pay the ticket to the ticket price to get the performer paid what they deserve, I'm going to supplement that because I believe that.
Right.
And that's why I believe in the nonprofit model too.
Yeah, I like the nonprofit model. I don't know enough about it. You know, one of the things I'm trying to learn more about is there's a nonprofit in Austin called HAM. Have you heard about this?
I don't think so.
I need to look. I always forget the acronym. But essentially, it's a way that they provide health insurance for musicians.
Oh, that's great. They just came up with
Health Alliance for Austin Musicians. So it's
great.
HAM with 2 A's.
I love that.
And it's a nonprofit. I don't know how it works. I emailed somebody and they were giving me information, but it's everybody's busy. It's difficult to just keep like, hey, tell me more.
Yeah, and they're like, I have 14,000. I'm trying to keep a nonprofit alive.
But I do think about the DFW area, and it's like, well, if they can do that with musicians, it feels like there's a version of that could be done with just artists.
There is.
Performing artists in DFW.
That just launched in 2025. It is, I could never remember what it's called off the top of my head, but they are a nonprofit that is providing health insurance to artists, artists of all kind, gigging artists, teaching artists. And I wish I could shout it out, but I can't. We'll have to put it in the comments.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Put it in the comments. But
it's a DFW thing?
Yes.
Okay.
And it is specifically for DFW performing artists.
That out. Yeah, I would love to talk to them just because.
It's so important.
Because those are the little things, right? It's like, literally, it's like if you're, like one of our stand-ups, Palos Firo, it's like he just had a stroke.
Yep.
A stroke. And it's
Love
like,
Palos, yep.
Maybe we can all criticize, what people should do differently with their health, but you still don't, like strokes are still just kind of random, right?
Yes.
It's like, yeah, we could go, okay, what if you ate this food or didn't do that activity? But at the end of the day,
It could
it's
have happened
like,
to anybody.
yeah, you're not trying to get a stroke, and so, who knows what the medical debt he's going to incur from that, right? And then, granted, we just want him to be healthy, obviously, but let's just assume he gets back to health the way we want him to. If all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I mean, I would do that show, but I got to pick up this extra shift. I got to do this thing, blah, 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 blah. I don't know his situation. I know there's a GoFundMe going around, which makes me feel like the bills are going to be huge and probably not affordable for him and whatever his insurance plan is. And so that's where my capitalistic thinking comes through, where it's like, I just want to do it enough so that those bases are covered.
Yes. Okay.
Needs
we're
are
gonna
covered.
Okay, let's get political though.
I want capitalism to cover the needs so that we can do the wants.
Let's get political here though,
Yeah.
because that's where unions become important. Like actors equity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a professional actor in DFW, you're a part of Actors Equity, which is the actors union. You have to put in X amount of hours and pay your dues and da-da-da-da-da-da. But then you have health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
You have benefits that are provided to you, and you are an actor. It's the same thing with, all the different unions in Hollywood. I am a huge advocate for, like, comedians unionizing. Like, because then they have like protections against the things we were talking about earlier. And then they could also, honestly, but I mean, granted, not anybody could be in it. It would be like actors where it's like, no, you have to be professional level. You have to put in X amount of hours. You have to, there are different standards that you have to meet, but you're treated like a professional. You can live, you have benefits, you have health insurance.
Yeah. My father was in a trade. He worked on elevators.
Love
and,
that.
they had a union, and I think unions are really good, and I like unions, and I think they should exist in a lot more levels. The only problem I have with them is like you've really, it's like everything in the world, right? It's like you got to police it yourselves in a way where you're also realistic, right? It's like don't go in there and go crazy with demands and stuff, so that now you're ruining your industry.
Yeah,
and I know that's like
abused.
that's like a very like
Republican.
Yeah, and I'm not very, but you do see it, right? It's like you see. I'm not going to call any union out specifically because I don't want to be talking out of my ass.
No, I always hear the example that I always hear people give is when teachers' unions get too strong and they're like, it's impossible to fire a teacher. And I'm like, I hear you say that. I hear people say it all the time. I'm like, cool. I've never actually heard of a case where it was really impossible to hire. I always hear the stories.
I more think about understanding your value, right? So I'm just going to pick on an industry. This is not factual. This is just, but like the auto industry having a union, right? In my mind, as a consumer, I look at these, we're working with greedy corporations, right, who want to make as much money as they can because we have stocks and shareholders and I get it, okay? We've got your quarterly whatever bullshit you want to hit. But then you also have a union who their goal is like, I want my workers protected and I want them paid for. And my incentive is to get the highest pay for them that I can get, which is great.
Right.
So we're trying to get the workers the highest pay, and we're also trying to get the corporation the highest pay and blah, blah, blah. But then on the end game, like as the consumer, we're kind of getting screwed because now it's like, finding a car for under $30,000 is becoming impossible, right? And then that's mixed in with all these marketing schemes of like, yeah, I need my truck tailgate to open 3 different ways and lower itself for me. And it's like all that feels like stuff you're putting on there to jack up the cost on me,
right? But which is why everything has to be regulated because everything can be corrupt 100%. And abused, and including unions. Sure.
So it's like sometimes you wonder, it's like, hey, I'm not saying your job is not difficult, not necessary. It's like your job is absolutely both of those things. Mm-hmm. And just to put out like fake numbers, it's like, is your job worth the $15 an hour more you're asking for right now, right? Or is it that you have union strength and really what you need is like a $5 an hour raise?
Yeah. This has to be a negotiation.
Yeah. And it's like, because at the end of the day, too, it's like, hey, let's think about what's also going to affect consumers of this.
Well, there has to be consumer advocacy groups that are there has to.
That's my only issue with union is I'm pro union in a lot of ways. It's like you got to have a leader that's got incredible ethics who can get you what you deserve, but then not cave to like we want more.
Okay, but here's where I'm going to come back to absolute power corrupts. Power absolutely corrupts. That any union leader has the ability, even if they start ethical, to get whatever. So that's where you have to have laws and regulations because no human being could be trusted anything because we are the worst.
Yeah, but then the laws are being made by the same. You know what I mean?
Now Travis wants to get political.
No, I drift.
No, you can't have the same people policing the law, making the laws that are. No, you can't. It doesn't work.
But that's how it goes, right?
Oh, I know. The system is completely broken.
Yeah, I know.
We're in hell. We're truly in hell, Travis, and we all know it.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. That's why we do comedy, because we couldn't make it through without it.
Yeah, well, it's a solid point. I think I want to end it on "We're in hell."
We're in. I don't know if it was funny, but it was.
It doesn't need to be funny. I just like getting into it. I mean, honestly, I could talk to you for like 5 more hours just about Stomping Ground and your background and everything. I wish we could cover more. So I hope you come back on sometime in the future.
I would
and
love
we dive
to.
a little deeper.
There's so much we didn't cover. I mean, gosh, communism. The political landscape, conspiracy theories. There's so much we didn't get into.
We didn't even touch on immigrants.
Oh my God.
We didn't even do it.
They're so important to comedy. We got to get into it.
Yeah, no, but I do appreciate you taking the time. So do you not like calling it a club? Do you like calling it a theater? What do you like to call it?
When people call it a club, we're fine with it. No, but it's a comedy theater and training center.
Yeah.
So Stomping Ground Comedy Theater and Training Center. We're a comedy training institution. And then we're also a theater where you can come see comedy on the weekends.
Yeah, I think I'm coming out to, you guys are going to have Danny Tran headlining, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really
such a sweet
excited.
guy.
He's great. Yeah,
I've never seen him do comedy, but he came highly recommended, and he's just the sweetest guy.
I think you're going to enjoy him. I don't know what kind of stand-up you like, but I think at least as someone who runs a venue, I think you're going to really appreciate that this guy is, he's attempting to make a serious run at this.
Let me tell you
and
what
he's very, he's on top of it.
I'm going to tell you what I appreciate about Danny. He came in, he is putting in the work. He came in, was like, I have a marketing plan. I want to fill these seats. It's really important to me. He takes the work seriously and is professional, and that is like better than so many performers. Like, you have to be. This is a big beef that I have with improvisers. Is like a lot of them. I came from the theater world where we are all shameless self-promoters. We will talk about ourselves. We will tell you about our stuff that's coming up, and then we'll tell you about it for 10 more years. But you have to be a shameless self-promoter. That's what you have to. You chose an art form that requires an audience. So you've got to be willing to put yourself out there, ask people to come to your shows, tell them why they would love your show, and promote yourself. Yeah. And a lot of improvisers are like, no, it's just little old me. And I'm like, no, you don't get to, no. So I really appreciate that Danny is prepared, professional, and is really putting the work in. Yeah. He's a great guy.
If he stays at it like he's doing it, and his comedy writing stays with the same eagerness. Yeah. I think he's going to be a force coming out of here. So I love that. Yeah, I hope to see it. But he was raving about your venue. He's like, it checked all his boxes of he had a certain size, he had a certain price point for tickets and free parking, things like that. Yeah. And he was like, and I was like, well, where are you going to do that? He's like, Stomping Ground. I was like, God, yeah, that is perfect for that. Yeah. And the right amount of control where he gets to do it his way. Yeah. But also it's a place that has stuff put in place for the production as well, where it's not just an empty shell, obviously.
Yeah, we have an infrastructure. Yeah. No, and that's where I come back to where we started, which is we are a place where we're not bringing in the headliners from out of town. It's a place where I think about we have people like Danny, and it's where will Danny be in 10 years? I don't know, but we'll get to say, you know what? He did a show right here. Because we cheerleaded him along the way, and now look where he is. And we were a small part of that journey. And that's like what I love about what we do.
One of the smaller shows I watched years ago there was Mr. Ralph Barbosa. And look at him now. He was a stomping around performer as well. So yeah, you just never know. I think that's a better place to end it on instead of the negativity.
We did it.
We brought it around. We brought it around.
We're not in hell. We're back.
No, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
I really hope we come back on soon and get more into it. But anything else you want to put out there? Where's the best place to, is it just Stomping Around Comedy?
StompingAroundComedy.org. And we have, actually, this is, the timing's impeccable because we are doing our annual fundraiser this month. This is Dallas Arts Month, by the way. We are in Dallas Arts Month. There's going to be arts events happening all over the city. All kinds of arts. The arts. But we are having our 48-hour laugh-a-thon. It is 48 hours of comedy, even in the middle of the night. There are, I think, 27 shows, something like that. The whole thing is being live streamed on YouTube and Twitch, hosted by Parker Coppins. But you can also come and be a part of the madness. April 17th through 19th. You can see the entire fest, every single show, as many as you want. For a pass is $84. And we're trying to raise $50,000.
Whew, there you go.
And we do this every year. Like we fundraise, and so donate. Come see a show. Come cheer on a show. We got your back. We love you. Blah, blah, blah. All the positive stuff that improvisers do. Got your back. Zip, zap, zap. But seriously, it's fun.
Yeah.
Come be a part of it.
Best of luck.
Thanks.
Thanks.
The I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.